Hello, I welcome all to this special webinar on AWS. Our topic for today is disaster recovery on AWS. My name is Debashish Roy. I'm the Senior Network Analyst at the Indian Cybersecurity Solutions. And today we'll talk about the disaster recovery means backup. So what are the backup plans you have for AWS and why is the backup needed? And we'll discuss the planning and implementation strategies, that is the disaster recovery strategies for AWS. So let's begin. So we'll master the disaster recovery strategies on AWS. Disaster recovery means backup. When you are having any resources on the cloud, definitely you should take a backup because anytime the resource may fail. And if the resource fails because of some, say, natural disaster, so definitely you will lose your resource. So we'll explore the disaster recovery strategies on AWS here, including best practices and key considerations for ensuring business continuity. And we'll cover various resilience techniques as well. So disaster recovery is also a very paramount process. Like you are taking, say, any backup of your system, say any router iOS backup or PC OS backup to any secure place. Like that, you can have the resources backed up securely so that you can restore it. So you'll understand the disaster recovery, that is the process of preparing for and recovering from potential disruptions. Definitely that some natural calamity or some theft. So anything can happen. So you have to be prepared for that every time. It involves identifying critical assets, defining recovery objectives, and implementing resilience measures to minimize downtime and definitely data loss. So data is your paramount importance, so you have to ensure that data loss is not happening there. And AWS offers a range of services. What are the services they offer? Amazon S3 that we'll see, Amazon RDS, AWS Backup that can be leveraged for disaster recovery. So these services provide redundancy, automated backups, and failover capabilities to ensure high availability and data protection. So in S3 bucket, you can also store the data, also take backup, also Amazon relational database service, and also AWS backup services there for you to actually do the disaster recovery. Backup and restore best practices. You are implementing regular backups and automated snapshots. Definitely, you can take snapshots of EBS, or you can say the entire EC2 instance. That is also a kind of backup and is essential for data protection. So you have to utilize Amazon Glacier. There is a service for long-term archiving and follow the 3-to-1 rule for backup in redundancy to mitigate the risk of data loss. Regular testing, yes, of disaster recovery plans, that is also very crucial to validate the effectiveness of the strategies. So you have to build a solid backup and testing plan and conduct simulated and live tests also to identify and address any weaknesses in the recovery process. Leverage AWS auto scaling. That is also a very important thing when you are scaling in and scaling out your EC2 instances. And Amazon Route 53, that is DNS service that we know, to enable automated failover and load balancing. So failover clustering, that is also related to this thing, and also the load balancing thing, elastic load balancer. Implement multi-AZ deployments, multi-availability zone deployments, and use elastic IP, that is a live public IP, to ensure seamless and reliable failover. Cost optimization strategy is also paramount. Utilize AWS Cost Explorer to analyze disaster recovery costs and identify opportunities for optimization. Because, see, you have to leverage the cost also. You have to minimize the cost. So you have to implement resource tagging and leverage AWS reserve instances to reduce operational expenses. So you have to reserve the instances, say, for example, up to 3 years, from 1 to 3 years, to minimize the cost. Security and compliance considerations are next. So you have to adhere to AWS security best practices and implement encryption for data address and also in transit data. So you can implement some KMS, key management service, to encrypt your data and encrypt your EC2 instance as well. So ensure compliance with industry regulations such as HIPAA and GDPR to maintain data integrity and privacy. Then the monitoring and alerting is also related to this. So if you want to take a backup with that, you have to monitor that. So you have to implement AWS CloudWatch for real-time monitoring and set up custom alarms that we know in the CloudWatch alarms to receive notification for critical events. So you have to utilize AWS CloudTrail also. There is another service for auditing and tracking changes to resources. Recovery point objective RPO and recovery time objective RTO is also very important to establish data recovery and system availability. So you have to align the disaster recovery strategies with these objectives to ensure minimal data loss and downtime. So when you are actually recovering the data, how much time you are taking for data recovery? The downtime should be almost zero. So that is also very important to minimize the downtime during disruptions. So best practices recap, we can summarize the key best practices for mastering the disaster recovery on AWS and emphasizing the importance of preparation, testing, and automation. So you can highlight the role of AWS services in enabling resilience and business continuity there. So in conclusion, we may say that mastering disaster recovery strategies on AWS is very essential. It's for ensuring the continuous business resilience and data protection. So data is paramount. If you are, say, migrating any data, we have actually discussed the data migration before. So you have migrated any data and then some disaster has happened. So you have lost it. You have lost your data, your very crucial data, your business data. That is definitely a big loss for you. So you have to mitigate that. By leveraging AWS services and following best practices, organizations can effectively mitigate the impact of disruptions and maintain operational continuity. Yes, that is very important. So you have to maintain the continuity of your operations. So whenever you are doing any data migration, suitable backup strategy, disaster recovery strategy is paramount for you. So this is how we understand the migration strategies in theoretically. And now we can go to the actually AWS console there, that you can see there is AWS console here. You can take the backup here. If you just write the backup, you will come to the backup plan. You have to create a backup plan for that. So you can have different templates there also. You can choose a template for monthly retention or daily 35-day retention for your backup. So you have to choose for how long you want to retain that. So you have to just give a plan, say 1 2 3 4 or any name, and you can see that daily backup, monthly backup. So there are different options are coming for you. And you have to we can also take Windows VSS backup also. That is a Windows specific, the volume copy shadow service there, that is also relevant to the shared folders there. You can add some backup rules also, and backup vault. So you can create a new backup vault also. So where you want to create, we want to create and store the backup, so that is a backup vault. So you can create a new backup vault, and also you can choose the KMS key to encrypt that vault if you want. So there are different options there. Backup window, like the start time and end time, also the frequency. You can take daily backup at the end of the day. Say for example after 6 p.m. you can take the backup at end of the day every day. Also as a backup administrator, you can take weekly backup, also monthly backup. Like the backups we had in the Windows Server level, like the incremental backup, that you are taking the backups from the last stored backup, whatever the items that has incremented, you are only taking backups of those. You can also take that. Also you can take the differential backup, like thing like the weekly or monthly, means it is taking an entire huge amount of backup. So like we had in that Windows Server level. So there also the same concept is there in the cloud, also in the monthly backup. Also you can specify the scheduling. You can schedule the backup, start within how many hours. You can see, you can specify the storage, and how many days you want to retain that backup, total retention period. So you can specify it in days, weeks, months, years, or forever you want to keep that backup. So you can see there are different options in the AWS, definitely for your backup plan, backup vaults. Definitely some options are only for paid accounts. Everything is not available for your free account, but you can definitely make a backup plan for that, and you can take the backup. Also, if I can go to EC2 console, snapshot is like a backup also. You can take the snapshot of a single volume or an entire base volume. So say if you click on create snapshot, you'll get two options. One is volume, that is you can create a snapshot from a specific EBS volume, that is for elastic block storage. And also say in that case you have to select the volume ID. We do not have one right now. We have to create an EC2 instance. Also you have to attach a volume, and then you can take that. And also alternatively you can take the backup of a snapshot of the instance, like the AMI, Amazon machine image. It is like that. So you can take the backup of the entire machine. You have to select an instance. Obviously you have to launch an EC2 instance first, and then you can go for that. So what is the difference? Difference is that, see, snapshot can be of a single volume or instance, but AMI, Amazon machine image, like it is also a backup. It is for your personal account, like you are creating an AMI for your personal account that others cannot use. That is also a backup for the entire volumes, and that is available for AMI purpose. So your volumes cannot be backed up as AMI, but your EC2 instances can be backed up as an AMI. So snapshot, it is the same thing. It is also an encrypted copy of the backup, so you can store for the later use. So this is also a type of backup that is available in the EC2 this console. Also you can go to the S3 bucket. So S3 also, it is a removable storage, and it is a storage that is accessed remotely. So you can create a bucket. So bucket is where you store some data. So definitely that is also a part of the backup, you can say. So yes, definitely that is not a comprehensive backup, we can say, for the AWS, but yes, we can host the, say for example, websites, some website web pages. So we are storing the web pages for time now in the S3 bucket. So you can definitely create some bucket. You can enable the ACL access control list there, and if you want, you can enable the public access to enable the black bucket to be accessed from anywhere through web browser, and you can store some file. We can upload the data. So you can create a bucket, say for example, so 1 2 3 4, you can give any name. You can uncheck the block all public access. You can acknowledge that also. You can create bucket, and this is a bucket. So here you are. So just go to the bucket, and you can upload the documents there in the bucket. So you can add files. You can add files to the bucket. So definitely later I think you will be able to do that. So you have to add files. You can be, it can be a web page, it can be other resources also. So if you add files, that will be also kept there. So it will be also in the form of some backup, you can say, although it may not be that encrypted format, but yes, that is also a type of backup. So whatever I discussed, that it can be in the form of AWS backup console formally. Also it is in the form of S3 console, or even EC2, that snapshot. It can be in any form. So I have discussed these things also previously theoretically, and also right now I have shown you practical approaches how to implement and plan these backup strategies. So there are many ways to keep the backup, to retain the backup in the AWS. And as I have discussed with you, that backup is always very important, whatever data center you are in. So there, the backup is a paramount. If you are losing a data, definitely people will not be able to, or the people will not go to keep their data, because they want to keep the data secure. If they cannot do it that way, if they lose the data in the data center, so then it is a very bad thing. So definitely you have to ensure that that doesn't happen. So implementing proper backup strategy, when we were in the on-premise server days, like Windows Server or Linux server. Today also we have, but at least migrate to the cloud. So in on-premise server days also, we have to keep in mind these backup strategies. Otherwise, your data is meaningless. You can lose financial data of the year or month. So that is definitely not possible for you. So always remember that whether cloud or on-premise, this backup or disaster recovery, any technique of disaster recovery is paramount for your security. And also that is in the AWS or Azure, in any cloud environment. So we have discussed all the points of the backup and disaster recovery for AWS in this short webinar. And also I have shown you the practical things, how to implement that. So I hope that you have got a good knowledge on this subject, on how to manage the disaster recovery on AWS. And I think you'll be able to do the backup smartly, and you have to secure your organization data. So I think that is it about the disaster recovery on AWS, the planning and implementation of disaster recovery strategies for now. And I thank you all again for joining this webinar. And I hope that it was very beneficial for your knowledge and your AWS certification journey onwards. I will come with some new topic again shortly. Till then, bye.